Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Stories of Swar. In my experience as a life coach and a therapist, and as a person experiencing life myself, I have come to understand the strong correlation between our emotions and how our body reacts to those emotions. So, the headache that I have, the cold that I have, is really body's response to the emotions that I'm going through. I have seen it myself at these small little levels. I have heard stories of people being able to cure themselves of even bigger diseases like cancer or even a fatal accident from which they have come out with. In today's episode, we will talk about somebody who has witnessed and lived this miracle her own self. Without giving too much of a background of who she is, I want to welcome Devanshi in this episode today. And I want you directly to listen from her what miracle she has been able to manifest in her own life. Devanshi, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for being here. You have traveled a long way, both figuratively and literally. Your journey. In fact, I was asking you about how your journey from Bombay has been, and we started talking about your journey literally from where life was earlier to where you are today.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of a glimpse of what you were going through? What was life when you reached out to me when we started talking?
Yeah. So I have, first of all, my name is Devanshi, and I am a mother, a wife, a daughter-in-law, all those roles played. And I was, life was good, and suddenly a storm struck,
Yeah.
and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And yeah, initially it was uh, a shock, like a huge, huge shock. And then there was the denial phase, then there is the fear phase. So
What was this year that we are talking about?
we are talking about 2023 March.
2023 March. What was it that you were noticing in your body at that time which took you to the doctor? Were you witnessing any pain? Was there discomfort? What made you take that trip to the doctor?
So I had felt a lump. First of all, it started with a lot of extreme hair fall. Then I felt a lump in the breast. So we went to get it checked. Um, Sadly, I don't know what it was, but when we got it checked, the sonologist said that it's nothing, it's just water cyst, so nothing to worry about. In any case, we went to show it to an oncologist who told us this doesn't look like anything to worry about. So we were like, okay, it's fine. And then I started doing a diet and all of that to get the hair fall in control. Suddenly, after a couple of months, I realized that the lump was actually getting larger.
Bigger.
Yeah. So there was just this voice from inside that told me that I need to get it checked and I need to go all the way till the last step. I need to know what this actually is. So one thing led to another. So I did the sonogram, and then she directed me to do a mammogram. And then I did the mammogram, and the person at that place told me, after looking at the mammogram itself, that this is cancer.
And just like that, you were told on
Just
your
like
face.
that, she told me that, why don't you come back in half an hour? We'll talk. And then it's me and my husband, and she told me that this is cancer, and I'm like what? It's just
Not
yeah,
possible.
yeah. And there's a black shadow that comes,
Yeah.
yeah, in front of your eyes. Like, okay, like not okay. So she said, "Is this a shock?" Obviously, it's a shock.
Obviously, yeah.
Uh, so she said that we'll have to go in for some further checks to know what it is exactly, how serious it is, what stage it is, all of that. And the report will take a week to come. And that 1 week,
Oh, I can totally understand.
it was he was so uncertain.
Mm.
And a part of me wished that maybe she's wrong. He has misread it. Yeah, she's wrong. And then, but there was a part of me which said that she said it very confidently, and she watches this every day. So,
So you were on a roller coaster for the
was
entire
I
week.
was that 1 week was, because not knowing is worse than actually,
Absolutely.
knowing. At least you know what it is,
Mm.
but here we didn't know.
Mm.
Yeah, and so the first thing was, it cannot happen to me. It cannot be me.
Mm.
It cannot be me. Um, yeah, and then so many things come to your head because you're just thinking, what if I don't make it?
Mm.
Yeah, what if I don't make it? And the first thought that comes is of your immediate family,
Yeah.
of your son and of your husband. Like, what will happen to them if I don't make it? Yeah. And it's like, what just happened? So it's all a haze.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this, but at that point of time, it's all a haze.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And then we reached home, and then we told my immediate family that this could be a possibility. In fact, it is more, looks like it's the way it is. And of course, when your family hears you, they broke down,
Yeah.
and you break down. So yeah, so there were just a lot of emotions which you don't know how to deal with.
Mm.
In any case, the next day I went for the test, and she did the test, and she said it's gonna take 5 or 6 days for it to come back, maybe a week.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, that was the first step of it, and then the report came in, and then it did say that it was malignant. It is malignant, and then we immediately went to see the oncologist,
Mm.
and he said that okay, so this is what it is. You will have to take chemotherapies, then you'll have to do a surgery, then you'll have to do radiation, then you'll have to do targeted therapy, and then you'll have to do hormonal therapy.
Mm.
So there was nothing that I was discounted from.
Mm.
It was a full-length procedure, and it was going to take about a year and a half in total. It looked like a mountain I didn't want to climb.
Yeah.
And I was not ready to take chemotherapies, mainly because of what I've seen and heard. So I was not ready to take. I said, yeah, you know what? You can do the surgery. We can do the radiation, but I don't want to take the chemo.
Yeah.
But there was no option. I did not have an option.
Mm.
So we met. Yeah, so we met one of the persons out there, another oncologist. Uh, but so we met him, and then somebody suggested another doctor.
Mm.
So he said, just meet this doctor once. So we went, and there was a lot of waiting and all of that. And it's just the sheer amount of people there.
Yeah.
It just made me think that, oh my God, like, the question in my head was, why did it have to be me?
Yeah.
And then when I saw, and then I was like, why all of them?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we met this doctor who did not tell me anything different, but it's just the way that he told me that, you are young. What do you have to worry about? You're going to sail through this very smoothly.
Mm.
It's just, and a medical representative saying it in that way to you, it just makes you feel that, no, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay, let me get into it now
Mm.
with my own will.
Mm.
And then I was like, I will go ahead, but I will only go to this doctor.
Yeah.
Though he was far away from home, I said,
Yeah.
he's the guy I want to do it with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to take 6 chemotherapies. That happened. But while that was happening, I realized that this is not only physical,
Mm.
it's going to take a mental toll
Correct.
on me
Mm.
because of a lot of reasons, and I had still not processed any grief which I was feeling.
Yeah.
So I knew that a lot of things had to be done, more mental.
Mm.
Physical, the doctors were taking care of. I knew I had found the right doctor
Beautiful.
and I felt safe with him.
Mm.
So I know he would take care of it.
Mm.
But
And this realization that it needed more than medical attention, or it needed a lot more
yeah.
than just medical attention,
Yeah.
this the realization came to you on your own, or was it something that you saw, you read, or somebody told you?
Yeah. So I have been reading about Louise Hay since quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just out of the ordinary, just like that.
yes, because I have a friend who introduced me to this concept of you can heal your life,
Hmm.
and how things that happen in our body are actually related to
Yeah.
our emotions.
Yeah.
So, but you don't get into it
Until
until it
yes.
hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it did happen,
So did you actually take out the book and read it when
I had already read it,
Yeah.
but I knew I had to do it again, and I knew I had to do much, much more. Of course, I reached out to my friend who had introduced me to this, and she helped me out.
Right.
She counseled me a bit,
Mm.
and yeah, she gave me your contact,
Mm.
and we spoke, and something just clicked, and I said, yeah, she's the one I want to do my counseling with.
Mm.
So that's how we both got in touch. And along with that, I knew I had to take care of my food
Yeah.
and nutrition as well.
Mm.
So I got in touch with a nutritionist. That also, it literally came to me.
Came to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all like,
Tell me
it's
how it
like
came to you.
yeah, a metaphor, like the jigsaw puzzle of your life that you've made, it's broken.
Mm.
But the pieces are coming together and they are coming on their own.
And they're different pieces, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow.
Correct. So I just spoke to someone, and friend's friend, and she got me in touch with this nutritionist.
Mm.
And it just, all the people I spoke to, or for that matter, all the doctors who did some treatment on me,
Mhm.
I felt extremely safe. And then I realized that I don't have a choice here. I
Mm.
have no option.
Mm.
I have two ways to do it. Yeah, so I will feel, oh God, why me? And the negativity spread
Yes.
to people around you, the
Yes.
people you love the most.
Yes.
Or, okay, this is it. This is what I have to do. Let me do this. Let me do this in the best possible way.
Mm.
Get done with it
Mm.
and finish it.
Beautiful. And where did that belief come in, Devanshi? I know you mentioned about this doctor that you met.
Yeah,
That doctor made you understand that you're young and all of that.
correct.
Was that your moment of shift when you started thinking that a full recovery is possible and it is within your control to be able to do that?
So I'll tell you what. The thing that worked for me was, because I was a very logical person. For me, it's always cause and effect.
Correct.
Because you've done this happened to you.
Correct.
And when he was explaining, he actually explained to us beautifully. He said, first, I will tell you what is cancer and how it happens. And then when you realize that actually how it happens, and that the scientific thing that goes on in your body, how it happens, like it's not your fault. And when you realize what has happened to you is not your fault,
Yeah.
your entire mindset shifts.
Changes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I kept telling myself, what is it that I did? Maybe, and it was like at a point, it's obsession. Like, should I do this? Will it come back? Should I not do this? Is it because I did this? Why she doesn't have it?
Why do I have? Yeah.
She is older than me. She has a more unhealthy lifestyle than me. Why me? All of that has happened to me. No denying. All of that has happened to me. You call it jealousy, you call it, fear, anger, all of it.
Absolutely.
Comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a very big amount of anger
Yeah.
when somebody is diagnosed with a disease like yours.
Correct.
How did you deal with that anger that of all the people around me who are living an unhealthy life, like you said,
Correct.
why am I the one who has been
Yeah.
given this? How did you deal with that?
I didn't actually, to be honest. I took very long to deal with this. Of course, I
So you're
had-
saying you didn't deal only with the anger, you let the anger be.
so I was talking to people, like I was talking to you, I was talking to my nutritionist, I was talking to doctors, I was talking to a lot of people. But I think the anger was in the, when you are looking at social media and you're seeing that people are going out, enjoying themselves. You're like, God, will I ever be able to do this?
Yeah.
And why am I sitting here and not able to get to? But at no point did I feel that I'm the chosen one. Honestly, I didn't want to be the chosen
Yes.
one. Okay. I
Yes.
was like, God chose me.
Yeah.
No. The only thing that I think pacified me was that if it had to be someone in my family, it was me. And I was like, okay, I'm glad then it was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't imagine anyone else going through that.
Yeah. Possibly also because I know it sounds very superfluous right now, but finding some solace in figuring that maybe God felt or maybe the universe felt that you had the strength to overcome it. It is very overrated, but somewhere you do find your sanity and your peace in that I could navigate myself through it.
Yeah.
Maybe if somebody who I love had got it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do with my emotions, right? Did you go through those thoughts and emotions your own self?
Absolutely. And I will tell you that actually, as time passed, I began to realize after a few months that there were so many instances where I said, if this diagnosis wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have changed in this way.
Yeah.
So, it's like it's like somebody, like God has just come and shaken you, wake up.
Yeah. So what did you change in your life?
It's a long journey. It was a long journey to get the shift, but I had some lovely people around me. And one major thing which I did was not connect with those people who gave you sympathy. In my opinion, sympathy is a useless emotion. It does nothing for the person who gets it. It does nothing for the person who gives
Giving
it.
it, yeah.
Yeah, because when somebody gives you sympathy, you are just pitting yourself more.
Oh my goodness.
So, and I didn't want that. I was very clear from day one that I don't want this. Till I figure myself out, even after I figure myself out, I don't want this. So, if I had to take a step back and from people, I was completely okay with it.
Wow. So you were getting comfortable drawing your boundaries, as we say, saying no.
Very gradual, because I was such a people person. I couldn't say no earlier. I wanted to be a part of all the plans, be everywhere. FOMO. I want to reach here. From here, we'll go there. We'll do this. We'll do that. And it was just from people to people to people.
Yeah.
I spent very little time alone. But when this happened, I had to actually do a lot of reflection. And yeah, like people like you guided me that you have to do a lot of reflection, and you have to learn to be with yourself alone.
Yeah.
But it was a long process, and to be in that process along with going through chemotherapies, it was hell.
Yeah.
Because chemotherapy is far, far, far from pleasant. So yeah.
So the people you were interacting with,
Yeah.
that changed. You were choosing the
Yes.
people you want to be with. What else changed in the way you were living your life?
So I think a lot of decisions had to be taken
Mm.
medically, physically, emotionally. I'm proud to say that I took them all myself.
Amazing.
Yeah. And the only one person who I consulted, who was by my side all the while, was my
Your
husband.
husband, yes.
Yeah. And I am just super proud of him for, supporting me the way he did. Um, it was amazing. Like I tell him that, it was a dark tunnel for me and I was crawling through it. There were people who were standing at the end cheering for me
Yeah.
to come out of the tunnel. But you had the option of standing there, but you still chose to crawl with me from outside the tunnel.
Lovely.
He was the one person I cannot imagine doing this without.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
what has done to the bond that you and your husband share?
Yeah.
What has this disease done to the relationship that you share with him?
It has strengthened, and how? Like, I won't even say twofold. If there's something like fivefold, then that's happened.
Yeah.
Because you see, like, we've seen life in a completely different way. Very, very different way. And now that we are back to our lives the way we were, both our attitudes have changed completely. And we've had long talks during the time of treatment, and we used to go to coffee shops and just talk about what we've read, about just life in general.
Yeah.
And those talks were so deep, and it's just, and at that point, there was a point where I realized this is the partner I was supposed to have. No one else.
Yeah. That is such a
It was-
beautiful realization,
Yeah,
which came as a gift inadvertently. It came through a
It did.
different route,
Yeah.
but it came to you
Yeah.
differently.
it did.
I'm very curious to know, Devanshi, what are those things that you started doing for yourself without asking for anybody's approval, without thinking about what the other person will say? And I do know, because I was there
Yeah.
with your journey,
Yeah,
you did make some very long strides in the way
yeah,
you dealt with your own self, putting yourself first,
Yeah.
deciding for your own self. Like you said, you took the decisions.
yeah.
Can you share a few of those things that you did
course.
for yourself?
So look, as women, our minds are tuned to sacrifice. Husband, son, in-laws. I'll be very honest. Nobody has ever asked for it. Yeah,
Yes.
but we are just trained in such a way that
Conditioned like that.
you have to look at the other person first. You have to put the other person first. When this diagnosis happened, okay, the first thing I realized after talking to people, after reading, I got into a lot of reading, especially self-help books,
Yeah.
and I loved it because it's just someone telling you something without you without you saying anything,
Saying anything.
bad.
Yes.
So it's just you are reading someone's opinion, and you're reading it, and you're just absorbing it.
Correct.
So I think reading worked amazing for me. And what I realized after therapy and with you and after talking to everyone is that only you can do this.
Yeah.
You have to bring the shift, and only you can do this. You can get better.
Yeah.
And the medicines work the same for everyone,
Everyone. Yeah.
but it's something from inside you that will heal you.
Yeah. So, how did it change your relationship with sacrifice? What are you doing with it now?
I just realized that nobody has ever asked me to sacrifice. I was doing it because I thought I am supposed to do it. And when this thing happened, the first thing that my husband told me was that just think about yourself.
Yourself.
Just put yourself out there. Think about yourself first. Like literally tel lene gaya baki se. So, and that's what everybody was,
Telling you.
everything was guiding me to it.
Exactly. So, how has quality of life changed after you decided that sacrifice, the word, or even the intention, or the whole importance that we give on sacrifice is overrated and we don't need to, and all of that.
Yeah.
How has that changed your life today?
Um, I don't think it's changed my life much because everybody in the house was working as they were. But in terms of my mind,
Hmm.
the way I think now, it's just like, so what if he is doing it?
Yeah,
And another thing is, I am not responsible for anybody's happiness
lovely,
except my own.
lovely.
When that came, the entire game changed.
Mm. And then you realize that everybody is fully capable of looking after their own
Correct.
needs. I was the only one who was sacrificing my sleep over something that other person
Yes.
was fully
Yes.
capable of doing.
So it's the most difficult to do that is with your child.
Child.
But because of this entire episode, I was not available. Physically, I was not available. I was hospitalized. I was in and out of treatments, therapies. I was not feeling good. So I just had to rest it out. Sometimes I had to stay away from people. I had to stay away from him for a day or two. So it's very difficult to otherwise not be involved in his life as much because that life is dependent on you,
Yeah.
has always been dependent on you, but you don't know when to break.
Draw that line.
Yeah, and when it goes to independence. But I think this because I was not there, I made my peace with it that let him handle it for a year. Let's see how it goes, especially the studies part and the school part. And I just saw that he just did as good.
Lovely. How was it for that controlling mother that you were before? I remember talking about it.
Correct.
You wanted to control his studying time, his eating, and all of that, to now seeing him flourishing as a person on his own. How did the mama handle it?
It was amazing. I was like, why? Why am I being so why was I being so controlling when he can just handle it on his own? He's doing okay. He's just doing fine. And yeah, now in this year, of course, I am with him. I'm available for him. There are certain things I do for him, but uh, most of the things he handles on his own.
Lovely.
And it's a very proud feeling.
And it's giving you the freedom to do your solo trips.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. How you always wanted and how did you manifest that?
So I always wanted to, someday I'll go on a solo trip. And it's always ek din.
We spoke about it for your vision board also. It's
Yeah.
there.
I will go. Let this get over, then I will go. Let this get done, then I will go. And it never happens. So this is something that I had been eyeing for a while, and I wanted to go there. But the inherent nature that is that I want to go with someone. So I tried asking 3 or 4 people. They couldn't make it for whatever reason, and I manifested it.
Lovely.
I want to go there. I will be there. And I just woke up one day and I, of course, had to check with my nutritionist that will it be okay for me to be away for such a long trip. And she said, you know what? It's completely fine. It's going to change your life forever.
Lovely.
Just go for it.
Lovely.
So once she said that, I was like, I want to do this. And now I want to do it solo. I am not going to ask anyone else.
Yes. Beautiful.
I did not know how it's all going to happen. Of course, I had to check at home if things could be handled, but everyone at home was like, just go ahead, you need this. We are going to manage it here. Okay.
So when you decided it for yourself, then the entire universe supported you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm doing this. I spoke to the people there, and they said,
Where did you go?
I went on a painting retreat to Dharamshala.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, McLeodganj actually.
Wow.
And then I decided to spend some time after that
Lovely.
exploring the place. But I was supposed to do that alone. Never been out alone. How will it work out? Why won't it work out? And then at those points in your life, you start feeling that if I have done what I have done, if I have gone through that treatment, I can do anything.
Anything. Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
I want to really clap for you. Amazing.
Yeah. So, like, I'll do this. And I took off. I went, of course, I had to, I didn't overplan. I didn't have, honestly, I didn't have any expectations from the trip.
Hmm.
We'll see how it goes.
Hmm.
And I went, and a lot of things happened. My bag didn't arrive for 2 days. I lost my bag. It didn't arrive for 2 days.
Uh,
Like, it's all part of it, you know.
Hmm.
It's just what I am supposed to experience, and I am experiencing that.
Enjoy the adventure.
Yeah. I had so much fun.
Devanshi, this is so different from the Devanshi I met and
Yes.
spoke for the first time, who wanted to know in detail every step
Yeah.
how coaching is going to work,
Yeah.
how is it going to be, to this person you have today become who's just going with the flow, planning a solo trip without planning it to the T. It's such a departure from
Yeah.
how you were earlier. I want to slowly bring you back to your treatment if you're okay with
Yeah.
it. We spoke about until your chemo was done, and there was a surgery and a radiation also planned.
Yeah.
Something happened there also, some magic happened there also. Can you take us back to how was the magic in your life working out?
So, things looked good after the chemotherapies. And when things look good, you are motivated to just go through. But the first thing when things are going well, okay, so now can we stop?
Can we stop? Yeah.
Yeah. And, the doctor said a very nice thing to me. He said that you are playing a sport, you are defeating your enemy. Don't you want to get the highest lead against him?
Mm.
So that was it.
Yes.
So I had to go through it, but it was going positive, and it's like miracles are happening, miracles are happening. Everyone around who knows that things are going positive is saying miracles are happening. Something from within is telling me I did it.
Yes.
That it's done.
Mm.
And I had to do the surgery anyway.
Mm.
I went for the surgery. The surgery was supposed to be long. Some drama happened in my head. What if I don't come back?
Mhm.
What if something happens?
Mm.
But it was like, it's not in my control.
Yeah.
I have to do this. This is not in my control. That leaving of control, that came with you, with therapy,
Mm.
with reading, with understand, with meditations, with understanding that you cannot control everything in life, and that everything is not a cause and effect.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Just happen
Mm.
because they have to happen.
Mm.
And kuch bhi kar lo, like whatever you would have done or not done, this was meant to come
Meant
to
to
you.
happen. Yeah.
This would have come to you.
Mm.
So it's like crap happens,
Mm.
but it's how you deal with it that makes you you.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to do it gracefully.
So beautifully said.
Yeah. So I tried my best. Of course, I had my ups and downs.
Mm.
But the surgery was long. But of course, I was unaware, right? How long it was, what happened.
Mm.
Luckily, after the surgery, the recovery happened well. Because something in my head told me that I want to go home. I want to get done with this. I am going to be able to walk by tomorrow. I am going to be able to move my hand by tomorrow. It's just something I kept telling myself.
Oh my
And
God.
every night, the affirmations were on. Every night, whether it's the hospital, whether it's home, whether it's headphones, whether it's allowed,
Mm.
every night the affirmations were on.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just after the surgery got done, I went home, and then the follow-ups happened. It was a tough surgery, but yeah, after the surgery, the radiation happened. Uh, Radiation was for a month.
Mm-hmm.
It was daily, so I had to go daily.
Mm.
But the after effects of the radiation were a bit much.
Mm.
Um, but you tend to compare everything to the worst.
Could have happened.
Could have happened, and
Mm.
the chemotherapy, which was the worst. I'll tell you what, if this had to happen, I am glad the chemotherapies happened first.
Yeah.
Because I saw the worst.
Yeah.
And whatever came
My
later,
goodness. Do you realize how, when you're saying it could have whatever, you are actually, and I want to tell the viewers that
Yeah.
when she's saying that it could have happened a little differently, worse, you're actually in a state of gratitude where you are. It could have been worse, but I'm glad that for me it was this much. So you are actually showing gratitude for something any other person could have in a completely different energy state. Feeling like a victim, feeling powerless, feeling that anger and all of that. But you shifted that momentum the moment you started saying that it could have gone way different. And I'm happy that it's only this.
Yeah.
I'm happy that it's this.
yeah. And you know, sometimes certain things just hit you. And there was this one thing that I read which said that the life that you're living today is somebody else's prayer.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, this is so true. You know, a lot worse could have happened. Yesterday, I was hoping my chemo should get over. Now that my chemos are over, I'm hoping my surgery should get over. You know, we are just, what about those who are still going through,
Correct.
who have to take chemotherapies, but their reports are not in line.
Mm.
They have to wait it out. They have to keep doing the test. So it's, yeah.
Yeah.
It all just happened, the timeline which was told to me the very first time, it all happened in the same timeline, and I'm grateful for that. That one thing happened after the other. Touch wood, there were no delays. Everything went smooth. People were nice. People were extremely kind. Right from the nurses to the head doctors to the assistant doctors, everyone is so kind.
Wow.
And the best part is that they just treat you normally. Of course, normal
Yeah,
is
they don't fuss over.
subjective.
They don't fuss
Yeah.
over that you have
Yeah.
this or they have that.
Nobody
Yeah.
nobody will tell you that, oh, you're so young. Oh, you have such a small child. It's just, and you don't need that. You don't need that at that point of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And and my son was also a very big support. I lost hair, and you know, he was there by my side. Uh, it's okay, you still look beautiful. And it's so emotional. At the same time, you know, I'm so proud of him that he saw one of the most important people in his life go through hell, but he endured it. And how?
And it creates a bond that is there for life. I remember that phase when you were losing your hair, Devanshi.
Yeah.
And you don't give yourself enough credit for how you handled it. And I'm glad you're talking about it in the podcast, but I was inspired by the way you handled it. When you came to the stage where you had to put bandana, you
Yeah.
had to cover your head, and I remember you said, if I have to wear it, I'm going to look sexy in whatever
Yeah.
I wear.
Yeah.
And you were actually wearing some really hot bandanas. And the way you handled the whole thing, it was so beautiful. It made me so happy, so proud of not only knowing you as a coachee, but also knowing you as a person.
Yeah.
It was really very inspiring.
Yeah.
What have you left behind in the process, from when the illness was discovered to today when you're completely out of it? Some new things you have learned, you have absorbed, but there would be some thoughts, some emotions, some feelings, some people that you would have left behind in the process.
Yes, there are a few people I have left behind, uh, and I wish them well.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes you realize that this is not what you need in your life
Correct.
because of the phase of the life that you are in.
Mm.
You don't want to hear certain things. you know the nature of certain people. You don't want anyone taking decisions for you.
Correct.
You don't want people telling you what to do.
Mm.
You don't want people overly discussing.
Mm.
Because I was not okay with discussing what was happening
Correct.
when it was happening. Because out of the 24 hours, I think at least 20 hours, it's just running in your head
Mm.
that this is what it is, this is what I have to do, I have cancer. From random thoughts keep coming, right?
Yeah.
And we actually had to take time off where we switched off our phones and watching some movie or TV, and we are not going to talk about it.
Lovely.
We are not going to talk about any doctor.
Mm.
We are not going to talk about any report.
Mm.
It had to be done. It
Love.
had to be done.
Yeah.
So I think distraction worked to an extent,
Mm.
but the real change happened when you start looking inside and what has happened.
Mm.
There are some beliefs which you are stuck to for years and years.
Mm.
Do I need to change them?
Beautiful.
Because you have been in a phase of life where you don't know if you were going to make it.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, nobody talks about the money they earned,
Yeah. Oh my
the
God.
things they have.
Yeah.
What they talk about is the people they have next to them, or what they have done for themselves, how they are feeling, the memories they've made for themselves.
The life you have lived thus
Yeah.
far. Wow.
So my focus then and now is to make as many memories as I can.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What beliefs did you break and leave behind? Give us a few
Yeah.
things.
First one was, and the most important, I am not good enough.
That was your belief earlier.
Yes. No, I will be good when I look a certain way,
Mm.
when I earn a certain amount of money, when I do something,
For
when
others.
yes, when I do something for others. Uh, yeah, when I will earn so and so amount, this is how I'll feel about myself. Then I will feel good about myself. Right now, I am a work in progress. So just to know that you will reach where you are, but you are here right now and here is wonderful. That has changed, and now I hold on to that.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm enough just the way I am.
Yes.
What other thing changed? What other belief did you change?
That you don't need to look at the entire staircase. You just need to focus on the step in front.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Because I know that if I would have kept thinking about the entire process, it would have been worse. Like, I was just like, okay, one more chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Okay, one chemotherapy. Just one day at a time. Okay, now the day is over. One day at a time, one day at a time. That, I think, is what it's okay to not know.
Yeah, I'm like I said in the beginning also, you are a living example of a lot of things that we read in books, we read as Instagram posts and all of that. But you have actually lived all of that by the way you have handled this entire experience.
And honestly, all these things have helped me. So I really thank all those people who are putting the content out there, because I could totally relate and apply it to my life. And I owe a huge part of the shift that has happened to me because of the things that I've read and the therapy that I've done with you. So I have a lot of gratitude for all of us.
Thank you, Devanshi, for sharing your life and for sharing your journey with us. It's a privilege to have you on the podcast. I cannot tell you how much I have taken inspiration from what you have said, from the statements that you used, from the experiences that you shared. It has been personally very, very liberating and inspiring for me. Thank you so much. How was the podcast experience for you? I remember you had a lot of questions when you came.
Yeah.
How are we leaving you after the podcast?
It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And it's been so much of my life has been expressed, and I realized while talking that I'm really proud of it.
Lovely.
So thank you for calling me to do this. I take back with me a lot of memories and love. And I hope that this reaches the person who really needs to see this
Lovely.
and makes a bit of a difference to his or her life. It'll just be all worth it for me.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
what is next for you? What are you thinking of a future forward? What is it that life has for you?
I don't know. I'm not thinking much because I think it's okay to not know. But yeah, I am controlling the things I can control in terms of my health, in terms of nutrition, in terms of mental health. So and that's what I want to tell everyone, that just do whatever you can. Don't shy away from saying that I don't feel good mentally.
Yeah.
Don't say yes just because it's a social pressure. Just take care of yourself first,
Right.
is what I would want to tell.
Take care of yourself first. That's such a beautiful message to end this podcast with. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to us. I hope something that you heard today resonated with you and touched your heart. The beauty of these stories is that they are real stories by real people who have gone through some real issues in their lives and overcome it. I hope you take away something from this story today and will join us for another one very soon. To continue this journey with me, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with as many people as you can. Thank you so much.